Oh boy, leave it to Thomas Drance early Wednesday morning to give us the latest on all things Canucks. We have new updates in regards to management, in regards to the trade plan, and in regards to which prospects the Canucks are targeting in the 2026 NHL Draft. I'm going to leave a link in the description to this magnificent piece posted out there by Thomas Drance on The Athletic. It's on The Athletic, so you got to get the subscription to read it. But because there's so much info in this piece, we've got folks all over the internet that are summarizing it, talking about it, bringing up various excerpts from the article, and we're going to be diving into all of it here. So, where do we begin? Do we talk about the future of management? Do we talk about the coaching staff? Do we dive into prospects? Well, let's start out with some of the bigger points before diving into the Canucks news summaries of it all. Greg Wyszynski replied to Drance's article saying that, hey, right now, it seems pretty streamlined, based on reporting like Drance's here. Jim Rutherford will stay at the top, Patrik Allvin gets bumped up to a vice president role, and Ryan Johnson takes over as GM. Now, whether or not this is good for Vancouver is another discussion. So, based off of the early rumblings of what could be happening for the Vancouver Canucks, it does seem like Allvin and Rutherford are not going to be going anywhere. At least when you refer to staying in the Canucks organization as a whole. Rick Dhaliwal went out there and said this: what changes are coming in Vancouver? Well, everything is fluid. One thing I was told is that the Canucks denied Nashville permission to talk with Abbotsford Canucks GM Ryan Johnson. We'll have more on the show. So, Ryan Johnson does seem like there is some upward momentum for him to take on a general management role for the Vancouver Canucks. Cam Robinson said he's been told this wasn't the first time the Canucks have denied Ryan Johnson the opportunity to interview for a GM position. It's very telling for how they view him and his trajectory with the Vancouver Canucks. Now, of course, Ryan Johnson, pretty famous name in Vancouver Canucks lore. He's the guy who just gets it out. Before Campoli tried to clear it, Burrow shoots, scores! Obviously, that was from 15 years ago, but still, Ryan Johnson, pretty good Abbotsford Canucks GM. He has been a pretty notable figure in Canucks player development. It does seem like Johnson is going to have a pretty big opportunity coming up when it comes to the Vancouver Canucks. So with that said, let's skip over the Rutherford's future, Foot's future, and Allvin's future part of the summary here. Internally, there's a high eye for talent that Patrik Allvin has, and it does seem like the Canucks want to keep that in some respect. Let's go over some of these other conversations as posted up there by Thomas Drance and summarized by Canucks News Summaries. Who's next up? Patrick Johnston and Manny Malhotra are on the short list of replacements for Foot and Allvin. There seems to be some backstage industry momentum that Johnson is the heir apparent in Vancouver. Manny Malhotra is widely regarded as one of the top head coaching prospects outside the NHL in this hiring cycle, and so we'll probably see these two guys and their names pop up over the next few weeks or maybe even years. There's a conversation to happen on NCAA free agents. Based on what The Athletic is hearing, don't expect the Canucks to be the landing spot for TJ Hughes or any of the bigger NCAA guys. Drance also gets the sense that the Canucks will be on the outside looking in for this college free agent cycle. Now, this is where we dive into some of the more interesting conversations about the team. When it comes to the NHL Draft lottery, Drance says that there is a general sense that the third pick in this draft is likely to not be NHL ready. Are excited about Chase Reid. Even if the Canucks pick third overall, they are confident they'll be adding a franchise-altering player. And finally, the Canucks won't be pushing to sign their young players to long-term extensions this summer. Looking at you, Zeev Buyam. They're open to considering extensions, but they don't view the potential value as worth the risk. So, I guess this does check out with some of the other conversations that we've been hearing about before. A guy like Zeev Buium, for example, it's like, oh, he's going to go out there and get 8 years by $9 million. And a lot of folks, myself included, were like, okay, hold up. 9 mil? I understand that the market has changed because of Luke Hughes and Jackson Lacombe. But Zeev Buium making $9 million a year? I mean, he's on pace for 25 points this season. I get that he's 20. I get that he's really young. But at some point, it's like, wow, you're really paying on the upside here rather than what has already been shown in front of you. No matter how good Zeev is going to be, the fact is we haven't seen it yet. And at that point, $9 million a year, while it is true that many would like to capitalize on what Zeev could become and get that guy at 9 mil, he isn't there yet, and the guarantee that he is going to be there, it's not 100%. You can never be 100% on any of these things. That's not me being a doomer. That's me saying that, yeah, I don't feel comfortable giving $9 million to a guy who plays like this so far. I mean, yes, he'll be amazing, and you don't want to have a Quinn Hughes 2.0, but at the same time, do you want to have an Elias Pettersson 2.0? There literally is an argument for both sides. With that said, there were some other talking points to dive into in regards to the Canucks and their interest in Chase Reid, their interest in trading draft picks, and also what the plan seems to be. You had Adam Kierszenblad of the Hockey News posting this, a paragraph that shows the Canucks are not serious about an actual rebuild. Drance wrote this, that there is a distinct possibility, however, that the Vancouver Canucks will explore their options on the trade market this summer and will be open to utilizing their various extra second and third round picks in trades that return younger players with the ability to contribute at the NHL level on a more expedited timeline. And this can be seen as a pretty big red flag. This idea that the Canucks and their trade plan would involve sending away seconds and thirds for NHL-ready pieces that are also young. The reason this is a red flag is because they've been doing this for the past few years and it doesn't work. Eric Bronstrom, Daniel Sprong, Lucas Reichel, you name your pick, there are all these young guys that the Canucks trade for that don't pan out. The ones that do pan out are like, the Buiums and the Olgrens, the actual top prospects that displayed value. But the other ones are always just throw-ins and they stink and they don't do all too well. Kevin Olenek replies, why? And Adam Kierszenblad says, if you're serious about a rebuild, you aren't trading for players that are 22 or 23. Shane Wright is 22. You won't trade for him? No. When did the idea of a rebuild become so narrow and specific that you can't accept other ideas? The organization has been doing the same thing for the past decade. Sorry that I want them to try a method that actually works for other teams. But then you had yourselves another reply. So Montreal wasn't serious about their rebuild? I'll say that as well. The Canadiens did trade away their guys for some reasonably good prospects that ended up becoming great. So Adam's pretty opinionated about this. He said that for the next 2 years, the Canucks should not trade any top 100 pick. The only exception is Vancouver packaging 2 picks to move up in the draft. He is very against the idea of trading for young players specifically and really wanting to just focus on the draft itself. Whether or not that's going to manifest itself, let's take a look and see. But for now, this happens to be a pretty big conversation in regards to the Canucks. Todd Naslin replied saying, hey, what's wrong with this idea? By this logic, you think the Caps should redo their sort of trade. Your issue isn't with the plan, it's the end result that hasn't occurred. Pre-criticizing the execution. If you have a good scouting staff, this is how you should operate. Do they? Let's see. Michael replies there's a couple of guys who are interesting, McTavish, Wright, and Johnson. I'd bet those teams are only really looking for hockey trades, though. So whether or not the Canucks are going to actually trade away some of their seconds or thirds to get younger players, That remains to be seen. I can understand why some folks will be wary of that, but at the end of the day, you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. When it comes to this Thomas Drance article, the future of Rutherford, Allvin, Patrik Johnston, the future of these draft picks, and the trade plan itself, not to mention Chase Reid actually being a person of interest for the Canucks, you can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about all these Canucks news and notes? I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.